Over at Marvel Comics' current Amazing Spider Man series, the publisher has been juggling so many plot threads with the various heroes and villains in Peter's universe. We recently got to see some of the after effects of a major character death over in The Amazing Spider Man on Norman Osborn. And since he's recently switched over from villain to hero as the Gold Goblin, it's been interesting to watch some of those side effects. Also, in recent issues of the series, OttoOctavius, Doctor Octopus, is looking to take his vengeance over on the Spider Man property with Peter Parker by upgrading some new aspects of his arms. My name is Arako Braddock, and today, let's go ahead and see if OttoOctavius is successful in his plan in the pages of Amazing Spider Man issue 28. But before we get deeper into the video, I want to go ahead and encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button if you enjoy our content. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and give you some additional context behind the Amazing Spider-Man issue 28 with Marvel's solicitation text for the series. The new and improved Doctor Octopus takes his upgraded tentacles for a rampage through Oscorp. Can the deadliest Doc Ock ever be stopped? I want to go ahead and introduce our creative team on the Amazing Spider-Man issue 28. This issue is written over from Zeb Wells, featuring pencils from Ed McGuinness, inks from Mark Farmer, colors from Marcio Menyz, and letters from VC's Joe Caramagna. And the cover from the issue is coming in directly over from Ed McGuinness and Marcio Menyz. Here's a look over at the cover of the issue showing OttoOctavius battling both Gold Goblin and Spider-Man. I really enjoy the kind of sense of acting and characterization that Ed McGuinness is able to imbue over onto this cover here. Love this kind of face that Octavius is making as his battle against Norman and Peter is triumphant, if just for a moment, over on this cover. Want to extend a big thank you to Adventures in Poor Taste for posting this preview of Amazing Spider-Man 28 so fast. And of course, I want to kick things off by getting into a little bit of the art over on Ed McGuinness in the issue. Really appreciate what Ed McGuinness delivers over to the Amazing Spider-Man 28. This is an issue really sort of centered around humor, so I think having McGuinness here as the artist really helps to inform the tone of the issue that Zeb Wells is trying to instill over from the very first page of the series. I love as we see J. Jonah Jameson kind of entering Oscorp over in the first panel. The sense of tension that J. Jonah Jameson brings over to the issue right from the jump is just a great way to experience McGuinness's artwork. McGuinness also does a wonderful job kind of distorting J. Jonah Jameson to get as wild and as nimble as they can be in order to process as much humor out of any given situation as he possibly can over in this series. Also, I really appreciate how kind of careful some of the plotting was, as the Free Comic Book Day issue of Spider-Man Venom is also serving to inform several aspects of the Amazing Spider-Man 28, as we get a meeting between Kraven as well as Otto that kind of fills in some of the backstory over for that issue really, really nicely. It was interesting watching their really kind of tense conversation and to see Ed McGuinness switch from the really silly opening scene over to the more serious and more dour kind of meeting behind two villains of Kraven and OttoOctavius. Elsewhere, I just wanted to mention that the way that OttoOctavius kind of hatches his scheme over in the issue is just absolutely fascinating here. I love Ed McGuinness's depiction of all of these little kind of pieces of OttoOctavius's arms over in the chapter too. And also, I think the way that colorist Marcio Menyz is able to kind of render, the hues over on some of these pieces of Octavius's arm also looks really thrilling here. And I think moments like using the sort of negative space with that white color with the yellow here really helps sell some of the emotion that Ed McGuinness is trying to tell over in the story. So really appreciate how Menyz is helping McGuinness capture as much emotion as he possibly can over from Zeb Wells' script in this chapter. Also, watching the kind of various scenes between J. Jonah Jameson, Norman Osborn, and Peter Parker really helped amp up the humor over for this series as well. The fact that J. Jonah Jameson is so invested into Otto Octavius's arm is such a great way to kind of emotionally immerse readers over into the issue. Also, the way that Norman kind of slowly unfolds Otto's plan throughout the tale is really intriguing here. And also, I do like the fact that Zeb Wells takes a few moments to reference some of the kind of previous relationship status quos over for Otto and Norman as well. So overall, in terms of the Amazing Spider-Man issue 28, I think this has been a very fun issue, kind of resetting up and re-explaining Otto Octavius in the Marvel Universe. One aspect with this character that I really wanted this issue to touch on was the fact that Otto Octavius has been such a smart member of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery due to the entire Superior Spider-Man storyline, and I think that this series does a great job showing Otto's intelligence by the nature of the plan alone, as not even Norman Osborn saw Octavius's plan coming in the issue, and he even gives a few pointers over to Kraven the Hunter as well. Finally, I really have to hand it to Zeb Wells and some of his plotting over in the series. I like that there's some implications for kind of small moments in the plot, and I'm really glad that kind of Zeb Wells, Marvel, and the editorial team were really able to tie in that free comic book day issue over to this main series. So at the end of the day here, I'm still really happy over with the Amazing Spider-Man number 28. I think this is a really fun script filled with so many great moments between Otto Octavius and Norman Osborn in particular over in this chapter. I'm still interested to see some of those subplots that they opened up over in the Gold Goblin comic book to head back over into this series that was teased last issue, but as a whole here, I am enjoying the kind of humor-based writing that Zeb Wells is leaning into, and think that artist Ed McGuinness really helps kind of convey all of the different humor that Wells is trying to instill from so many different characters in the story, whether it be J. Jonah Jameson or Otto Octavius. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming to check out our video review over for Amazing Spider-Man 28, and I want to know from you, what did you think about this chapter? Thank you so much for coming to check out our content, and we'll be back really soon for more excellent comic book videos. Thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.